We're going to create a responsive header navigation bar right here where we have a logo, something like a logo icon, and then menu items right here, and then a call to action button, a login or subscribe button. And when we shrink into smaller screens like this, these menu items will be converted into a hamburger icon. And when we click the hamburger icon, it will display the menu items right here. And if we click outside, it will be hidden. And if we go to bigger screens again, it will be displayed just like that. So that's what we want to achieve, and let's get started. So I went on ahead and added basic stylings right here, or basic things in our project. So I have index.html, app.js, and style CSS. And I went on ahead and created this defaults setup where I have a meta, a viewport right there, and the title of document. Then we added a font of Pacifico and link our style sheet CSS and then app at the JS right here. So I'm just gonna paste in all of the markups we would be needing in here. So first I want to add a header, and then inside the header I want to add our logo. So that's right there, our logo, where we have the icon SVG right here, and then we have the short span right here like our text. So that's this one, this SVG, and then the text. So I'm just gonna reference that right here in the inspect element so you can see a little bit clearer. So I'm gonna proceed with adding a navigation items right here. So this is our nav. We have a nav here, and this outside menu is a click outside. So it's a click event, something we need to trigger when we are on mobile. So I think I'm just gonna comment it for now. Just uncomment that when we are in the responsive setup. So right now we're just gonna focus our attention to creating our markup for the desktop view. So I have here an ally of dashboard. As you can see, I'm just gonna zoom that out. Ally of dashboard here, dashboard, pricing, testimonials. A real world scenario, this is an A tag, anchor tag of a dashboard. It will be linked to your dashboard page like um, dashboard. But right now, I'm just gonna focus on this setup. So we're just styling a header navigation bar. And then I'm gonna proceed to adding the buttons. I say buttons because we're actually gonna need this hamburger icon later when we are in the responsive setup. But right now, I think I'm just gonna remove that because we'll just focus our attention for now in desktop view. So it's there. We have these markups. So these are the things we need to to style our header navigation. So we have, remember, just we just have a class of buttons in our buttons area and a class of button login. Then here we have a class of menu for the nav, then a logo for our logo. So let's get started with adding our styles. So let's proceed. I'm just gonna paste right here default for HTML setup. So if I save this, it will have a zero margin, zero padding, and then word a little bit of word spacing and height of 100%, and a subtle color of the background for the body. So I'm just gonna size that back, and if I save this, as you can see, is there's a little bit of change in background. So that's pretty much what it's doing, and let's proceed to styling our header. So I'm just gonna say here, king R right here, and I'm just gonna paste the code. So I have here a a box like a div, and then all the things are inside suddenly. So let's try to check that one by one. I'm just gonna hide everything for now so that we can trace. So if I put a background right here, it's full width, a background color, and I can see that it's being in the full width. If I put a max width, so it will just put a limit there. If it reaches 1024 px, it will go anymore. So that's a max width. Just gonna say. And then a margin of 0, top bottom right there, margin top right and bottom left. So what you need is that margin left and right auto, it will be centered. So that's just how it works with the margin. And then I want to display flex so that it will stock right at left to right, not at top and bottom. And then I'm just going to justify content space between, just space between, so that it will have a little bit of all the spaces will be it will add space to the this one and this one in every so for example, we have here in our index, so space between is these are the elements, right? So we want to add spaces in between these child elements. So we'll have after the logo a space, after the nav space, then after the button space. So this it will convert that's a bad example, but it will just add space in between the child items right there. So that's just how the uh, justify content works in Flexbox. So I think I'm just gonna create other tutorial for the Flexbox feature. And then the border bottom of 1px solid, we just have a cell effect right there. Then let's proceed to adding our logo. Just gonna add a logo right here. And then as you can see, it's now changed to a center because that's just how display flex works. And I will align it in the center. So it will be added in there and added a padding and cursor pointer. As you can see now, it's a normal cursor, and now it's hand. And then SVG of color blue and margin of 4px. So it will have a little space right here. So let's proceed with the menu. And just gonna copy the menu right here. And actually, before you can do this with the old CSS, but for the modern CSS, you can actually add a child components inside your inside the main what you call this. As you can see, it's being referred to as header. And if I click logo, so target the class of logo right there. So you can actually chain these styles inside the parent. So I'm just gonna proceed with the menu. I'm just gonna paste right here. So for the menu, as you can see, let's just try to do that on. Just gonna click on nav menu, and then we'll style. We'll uncheck one by styles. The menu, I want to display a block. I think that doesn't do anything for now, but later we'll come to realize that it's really important to add that in mobile. So right now I have here a UL component, and we didn't style it, we styled the li components. So in this style type of just gonna uncheck these things for now. So if I add a style type of none, this will be hidden. These dots, as you can see, it will be hidden and display inline block. It will stack up from left to right, right there. And the margin of 0, 0, so I'm just gonna fold that, remove any spaces. And a padding of 10 pixels. So I have padding there and a cursor of pointer. So that's what we have for the new. And if I hover, I added a hover effect right there. It will add a blue color. So right here, color blue. If I click that one, then I click on hover. Here, as you can see, it's color blue. So I'm just gonna reload this, and let's proceed to Okay, let's just hide this for now. That. And then let's proceed to the login. So we'll add, I think logins is inside the buttons. Just hide this for now. The login inside the buttons class. So as you can see, it says here, the buttons class, we have a login. So let's gonna style that. I want it to be center, so I'm just gonna do again what I did to the, I think, short link. So I'm just gonna do that again in here. And so display flex, display flags, align item center, it will be centered. Otherwise, as you can see, it if I remove that, so it's in the top right corner. I display flags and align item center, it will be centered cursor of point. And I want to target now the login button. So I'm just gonna copy right here. So just you want to see me type. So button login, a background of blue, color of white, and margin of 0, padding. I'm just gonna hide that and hide it again so that you'll have a little bit of reference. So I put a background color of, let's just remove this. It's, it's showing our code. Just gonna add a background color right there, blue, and the color of white. It will change text to white. Zoom in, and then a margin. If I add a margin, it will have space outside there, and if I add a padding, have spaces inside. That's just how it works. So right now it's a little bit. I think we can do more with adding an edge or and removing this text underline. So to do that, I'm just gonna target the a tag. So I think we're using a tag right there. So we are using a tag. We're just gonna target that and do a generic style. So maybe put below the body right here. So in every anchor tag or in every button, I want it to be just that right here. So I think we are at the button right. So I'm just gonna hide these things for now. So flex grow actually it's not working, so I'm just gonna so okay, let's hide it again. So right now I I I have a styles like this is not applied yet, so because I have hidden that in our spec elements right here. So if I add a border of none, it will have no border, outline of none, no outline, font weight of 500, and then font size of syntax. These are normal settings for the browsers, and then letter spacing 1.2. Right now it's a little bit of space right there, and display of block and cursor of pointer. If I hover, it will just like a hand or pointer right there. And a border radius of 5, it will have a curvy edge in every corner, and then text decoration of none, the underline will be. So that's pretty much it for our desktop view on this responsive navigation. Right now, what we want to do is to make it mobile friendly. So that's what we. Okay, so let's start by adding our hamburger icon right here just beside the login. So to do that, I'm just gonna go again to here in the buttons, and then I'm just gonna paste in our burger icon right here, where I wrap it inside a button with a div with an ID of icon burger and an SVG. Let's just try to save this one. So right now you can see, as you can see, we have a little bit of hamburger right there. So I'm just gonna reset it, and then let's proceed to styling that with adding a CSS. So I'm just gonna target the buttons login, and inside that I'm just gonna add icon burger. So because it has an ID, let's proceed it here. Icon burger. So it's gonna add these things first. Let's see what we got. So Right now, I don't have a background color, and I just removed the background color and I hover a blue. As you can see, if I hover, it's just a little effect with the blue color going on. And then height and width of 20 px by 20 px. So that's just how this we have now the icon burger. But I don't want to show it for now because I'm on desktop view. It's gonna hide it by adding a display none. So it's hidden. So let's work our way down to the, if I shrink this one, I think at 140-ish, 640 px, I want it to be hidden. So to do that, I'm just gonna say right here that at media query, at media, right here, and at max width, if I am on max width of 640 px, so from 0 to 640 px, do these things. So that's what I'm trying to say right here. So I'm just gonna target the header, and inside the header I want to target the menu. So we are working here, so we want it to be hidden when we are at 0 to 640. We want to show it, but 640 above we want to 0 to 640 we want to hide it, and 640 above we want to show it. But right now, assuming that we are on a 590 px, as you can see above right here, as you can see that there, 592 px, it's gone quite a bit. So as you can see at the top right here, there are 534 px. So this time we want it to be hidden. So to do that, I just want to simply say display none. As you can see, it's now being hidden. So display block, and it will be display none. Display block, uh, it's because yeah, that's the default display block, because if you go outside, it will, that's the default for this one, and if you shrink, it will just will take, this function will take place, because by default it's display block. So that's being handled by the browser itself. So let's do one more thing right here. So I want to show the menu, like a menu icon. So before, as you can see, we should see the menu right here. I think we're just gonna transfer it like a menu that's going on in here. It's like, let's just assume we have already clicked the hamburger icon, even though we have not. To do that, I think it's gonna thinking on the fly right here. So I think I'm just gonna show first the menu icon, or burger icon. So right there. So we want to assume that we have already clicked this, because later we want to add a little bit, just a little bit of JavaScript to make this work. But right now, let's assume that we have already clicked this one, and we would just want to show the menu items and mobile view. So I think I'm just gonna target first the LLI. I'm just gonna copy these things. So we're gonna paste that inside the menu. Right. So I think it's not working yet, but let's try to find where it is. So this is how you can check your code. So menu is being displayed fine. So I think we want it display block right. So display block for now. So this is what we have right now. So it's being stacked up at the top right there. So we just added a little bit styling in here. The style type of none, display block. Just gonna actually I'm just gonna that right. So I'm just gonna hide it for now. Um, It's not working. So I think I'm just gonna stick around with this. So right now we have added a list type of non-display block and then a margin. Because if we say inline block, it will or inline, it will stack upright like that. So we have to hit block level element to do that. Margin of 0 and leave and a padding of 20 by 30, and then cursor pointer background of uh, white, something like a grayish, something like that, and a border bottom. And this thing, if it's not the last child, so that's how you can say it. If not a last child, it will have a border bottom. So otherwise, if it's the last child, there's no border at the bottom. So you can see there's no border at the testimonials below. So below the dashboard and pricing, there's a border bottom, but this one it's not because just I said that here that not if it's not the last child, it should have a border. And hover, it will change the color to blue. So right there. And our problem right now is how we might want to put that just below it, because right now it's being stacked up inside the header. So to do that, we're just gonna do this. So it will be converted to position absolute, and then a margin right of 100 px. That's it's gonna use that right here. So if I remove the position absolute, it will be just like before. If I want to position absolute right there, it will position itself. I will create another video for this position absolute fixed relative, so sticky or other position attributes, and we're just gonna create a separate video for that. Right now, just bear with the position absolute and a margin left, margin right of 100 px, and then margin top of 44. As you can see the change right there. Top 0, right 0, and then z index of 1. So that's pretty much working for now. So I think the next thing we have to do is to make this click. As you can see, if I go to the um, bigger screen, it will be converted like that, and if smaller screens, it will be converted like this. So as you can notice, it will show the menu, and then items will be. So I think that's pretty much what we have so far. So I think what do you the thing the very important thing here is this display block, because if you don't add that, you'll just stuck right just like that before. So I think this is one of the cases where you want to understand how display works, display block, so it will be stuck upright just like that. So I could actually you can just review the code. I will post this one as well. I'll just provide a link after the video. And then, so right now I think it's pretty much working. So the next thing we have to do is to add the JavaScript, because we don't want to show it if we don't click the menu icon right here. So we're just gonna add a little bit of JavaScript to make this work properly. So to do the JavaScript, you just have to target a few elements right here. You want to target the burger icon and the menu items right here. So we called it menu ID menu, and for the hamburger icon, we named it icon burger. So let's just target those by saying const menu is equals to document that get element by ID icon burger, and menu as well. So we want to listen for a click for this burger. So to do that, I'm just gonna say menu uh, icon that add event listener, and we want to listen for a click right there, and then a click calls for the callback function, in this callback function, we're just gonna add um, a little bit of styling, right? Just gonna add here. So it's active. I'm just gonna add a falsy or true the value in here. If it's active, we'll show. If it's not, we'll hide. Like that's how the logic works. But if it's active, if there's a show in the icon, right now we want to if there's a show in the class list. So right now we just want to add a show icon. So show means this one. So I'm just gonna wait for a bit. Just gonna add a stylet here called show. If show, it's just a simple thing it has to do displays block. So right now we are trying to display none right here. So I just want to manually add display block right there. So if display none and display block. So I want to manually do that. So right now I'm just gonna add display none there. And we have this display block. So actually you can add that in here. I think that will work if I add show. Just try. As you can see it's working. I just added that on the fly. So if I add show, it will show. If I remove that list, I'm gonna hide that, remove that show class, it will be hidden. So that's just how it works. And the show class simply just say display block. So display it, don't hide it. So just this is another way of saying that. So let's proceed to our code. Let's just proceed back to JavaScript. So if it contains a class of show, then we should remove it. Otherwise, we should hide it because when you click, it will add show, and click, it will add hide. So to that, I'm just gonna say if is active, it's currently showing, or the show class is inside the class list. I'm just gonna say new that class list show. Otherwise, wanna hide it. So the class list that add show. So this is how it works. So right now, if I click on the menu, as you can see, it now it adds the show class in the class list. And if I click again the hamburger icon, it you know. So that's just how it works. But I just want to add a bonus right here because I've worked with other clients that they want to click outside. If I click outside this menu, it will be hidden. So actually to do that, I'm just gonna say right here, as you can see, we have added before the menu, we have added the outside menu right here. So this functions like a veil to the entire website. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of styling in there for the outside menu. So I'm just gonna put it in this media query because we are working on this particular view. So actually, if I add block right, you can see if I click right now, it added this one. So it's a position fixed instead of zero. So top, bottom, left, and right is zero. So it covers the entire area of the website, and then index of 0.1, index of -1, so that it will just show just behind this. So I just want to go back to transparent. So if I click outside, it's just a trick so that if you click outside, you're actually clicking on this outside menu uh, element. So let's just listen for a click right here also for the outside menu. Just gonna add that in our app. So you can just review this code if you are not familiar with it later. So I'm just gonna target outside menu and I want to listen for a click. So if outside menu is clicked, then remove the show icon. So if I click and I click outside, it just remove the show class. So that's just pretty much how this works. So we have achieved the responsive navigation bar right here. And if I shrink, I have the burger icon. If I click and then it show, click again, click and click outside, it will hide. So that's just how the um, responsive navigation bar. So that's how you can do it.